Charlie Brown.
Good morning, everybody. This is a chess match of a deal. I've had some conversations here beforehand with the guys over there at HBHS, and I am telling you, there are a lot of moving parts to getting this deal done. So for those of you out there that ever approached a property that have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heirs and they're all feuding, well, this one right here definitely takes the pot of gold when we're talking about complexity. So if you've ever looked at a complex deal and you're wondering if it was something you could take down, here is an excellent opportunity for you to see a case study where these guys found a property, massive amounts of feuding heirs, lots of issues going on, and you can see step by step how these guys were able to professionally take this deal down and get a deal done that most people would have walked away from. So thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for joining in. This is live, so if you've got questions, please feel free to come in here and ask them. But hey guys, Michael, Charles, how did this deal come to you?
Man, you know, this deal right here was a pre-foreclosure. This is back in the day when Mike and I used to beat the doors. We've done that too, man. So anybody that says it doesn't work, it does work. The trick to beating the doors and going after equity, which is totally different when we talk about zero equity and all that stuff, is you gotta get there, man. You gotta get there early. You gotta be there first. You gotta know the list that you're reviewing. You gotta make sure the list is hot. And so, we got there first, man. And the thing about it also is that you got to know where you're going. The landscape, the people, the demographics. And this guy happened to be traditional Hispanic guy, and I just happened to talk that talk. And I'll let Mike share a little bit before we go into it. I just want to tell everybody right now, man, do not switch off, man. What we're gonna share with you guys today, I guarantee you. I mean, I could be wrong, but I guarantee you ain't never heard what we're going to share with you today, man. This is a deal. It's a deal. A lot of moving parts, guys. A lot of stuff, man. And you got to learn how to coordinate all these things. So it's gonna be exciting. I might get a little animated because it was exciting when we did it. But we're going to try to pack it into an hour. Probably take a little longer, man. But we're going to try to get there and give you guys all the information that took place, man. Mike?
So Daniel, thanks again for having us be on here with the REI Hustle every Thursday at 11, where we definitely want to provide value. Like Charles said, this one is going to be one for the books for you guys who are watching. Like Charles said, I would say let's take notes. Let's make sure you guys fully understand how we're going to take this property from A all the way to Z with multiple issues, multiple judgments, multiple liens, multiple heirs. Family doesn't talk to each other. But to start it all off, how do we get the deal? This one was actually door knocking, like Charles said, when we door knocked before. We knocked on the door. Crazy gentleman comes out. It's one of those, we're in San Antonio, right? So we're in San Antonio. We're in the southwest side of San Antonio-ish. And guy opens the door. He's just in his boxers, no shirt. What do you guys want? That's the start of this conversation. What do you guys want? Old man comes out, grumpy, frustrated. As you can tell, probably multiple people are knocking on his door. At that time, I don't know if there were many phone calls and SMS at the time. But Charles said something earlier, get there first. Now, to be honest with you, we weren't there first, Charles. And Charles is going to explain something that's really going to blow your mind, guys, and how do we get around all kinds of crazy stuff. But I would like to show one factor. And Daniel, this is a crazy factor. This gentleman has owned the property for 29 and a half years, and he was getting foreclosed. Let me say that one more time, guys.
His mom owned it.
Yeah, his mom. So his mom purchased the property. Mom passed away probably about 5-6 years before the foreclosure date. But his mom, and unfortunately this gentleman, has had this loan for 29 and a half years. He was getting foreclosed on because he couldn't make the last 6 months of his payments. Now, Charles and I is probably our first and only encounter where someone was literally that close to paying it off, but this gentleman had such a hard time because of family issues. And I'll let Charles explain a little more about the family issues, but he had such a hard time with family issues and not be able to pay the 6 months. The very first thing Charles and I said was, I'm sure some type of family member that can loan you this money. I'm sure you can go get a loan somewhere, a refinance, anything to get you out this deal. Lo and behold, there are people out there with little to no options. This gentleman accepted the fact that he's going to go ahead and get foreclosed and he's going to lose the property. He is just staying there just to buy himself as much time as possible, no income, Unfortunately, such in a bad position. And I know Charles is animated, and I know
Let's
Charles is
go.
hyped. Charles wants to tell this whole issue for you guys who are watching. Make sure you comment questions. Make sure you comment hustle. Make sure you comment Propelio, because this one is gonna blow your mind on how we got this deal done. Go ahead, Charles.
All right, guys. It's a lot of moving pieces, man. So you got to keep up. We got some people here. Hopefully, everybody's gonna catch it. Here's the deal, man. We got out there, but we always research our list. We got out
I
there.
know,
You gotta keep in mind when you knock on that door, you don't know what to expect. So this just happens to be one of those rugged Hispanic guys that wasn't trying to take it. The first thing he said is, "I already took care of it." My response was, "Did you file a modification?" And he was like, "What's that?" So you always have to have a response. For the sake of going to the Nuggets, let me just tell you, we were in his house within about 4 minutes, man, on the phone with the bank, calling the bank, pretty much taking over the whole thing. The reason he didn't want to pay on the property anymore, because there was an additional 8 heirs. So he had 3 siblings, 3 had passed. So he had a bunch of nephews, and they were all feuding. They all hated each other. They all hated him, and nobody wanted to make the payments. He didn't want to make the payments. That's what the issue was. So let's get to it. Daniel, unless you got something to say, I'm going to start sharing the screen because it's going to go pretty quick, brother.
All right, let's get it.
All right, so let me get here. All right, so we call this a chess match, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to tell you in a minute. That's the property right there. Nice home, man. Nice home over here on the northwest side of San Antonio with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I want to say
before or after the remodel.
This picture actually is afterwards, to be honest with you, man.
Okay.
I don't. This is back in early 2016, brother. So
okay.
So I don't have those photos, but here's the thing. I put this up here for you guys. It's a lot of stuff. Usually we don't like to put a lot of stuff on these flyers, but I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff, and you might not catch up, so you might want to look at this. So here's the thing, man. He was getting foreclosed in 8 days. We door knocked. We were in his house within 4 or 5 minutes, taking care of business. What we discovered was this, that the deceased owner was his mom. She had passed away about 7 years earlier. The will had expired, guys. And we discovered by communicating, you got to talk, you got to get information quick, especially when you're working against the clock, that the affidavit, that they had tried doing affidavits of heirship, and they had failed twice. There was some other people involved. And here's the thing, guys, something you guys need to know is that when you're trying, if one of your family members passed away, and you're trying to get the bank to talk to you, you got to submit your death certificates. You got to prove to them you're the guy, either by probate decision or affidavit of heirship, or if not, they're going to talk to you. So he really none of them were on there. So they the bank was just accepting payments all those years, and when they found out this lady had passed away, they didn't want to play ball, man. They were just going straight to foreclosure.
Can I jump in and ask a question real quick? I hate to cut you off, but you mentioned it a second ago, and I didn't catch a break to get in there and ask it. You mentioned that the will expired. What do you mean by the will expired? Like, if someone's got a will, is there like a specific date that something happens? Because that might not make sense to some people.
4 years, man.
4 years. What do you mean 4 years? So in 4 years, if someone's died and you haven't probated the will in those first 4 years, it's no longer a good will?
That's right, man. I mean, that's been our experience. That's what our attorneys has told us. Now, there is a way to get it back. For example, if there was children involved, and they turn 18, and their benefits won't look after, they can fight it. But 4 years, man, you got 4 years. You didn't take care of business. Now everybody has ownership. So if the property was left to you, Daniel, if you didn't take care of business, and you got 6 or 7 other heirs that didn't have anything to do with it, guess what? Now all of you guys are partners in that deal.
All right. So
the other thing people don't understand is this: when somebody passed away, the bank wants documentation. They want the death certificates. They want, if it's affidavits of heirship, they want to know who's the heirs. And if you ain't got that stuff submitted to them, they ain't gonna talk to you. So he really was between a hard rock and a hard place. All of them were. And what was sad is that they were all disgruntled. They all hated each other. And what was really sad is that except for one of them, they were all drug addicts and alcoholics, man, and just on the street, So it was a really bad situation. Now we call this REI chess because there was lots of moving parts. I'm just gonna throw some clip notes on there and I'll explain a little bit, Daniel. So we were dealing with a twisted title company, brother, and I'll explain that in a minute. We were dealing with a twisted previous investor, man, and I'll explain that in a minute. We forced the title company to give up their documents. I'll get to that in a minute. We played chess with the previous investor because we knew he was going to come at us. So you got to be strategic about this. You can't just take it. You got to know what you're doing, and that's what we're going to show you guys. We were open to taking down the property with a clouded title. What is that? That means you can't clear title. If you can't get somebody to sign, you only get 3 people to sign. You can't get the other 6. We're cool with it. You know why? Because the property, the ARV on the property is like 145. And I'm going to get to the numbers in a minute. You're going to understand. We didn't care whether we rented that thing or not. The key thing for us is always get possession, always get the person with possession on the contract. So we didn't care if the other people didn't sign or not. That's a different strategy. We'll come back and make sure they sign at a later date. But we were willing to take the property down, even with clouded title. We do our due diligence. We research for liens and judgments and all kind of stuff. We challenged collectors. We dealt with the state, and we got releases. And I'm going to explain all that in a minute, Daniel. We had to find the witnesses, man, for the affidavits of heirship, man. That's a whole other ballgame. I'm going to explain that in a second. Had to find the heirs on the street and in different cities. Had to find a solution to family hate and pain. Had to work against the foreclosure clock. Man, Daniel, all this was going on all at the same time from different angles. And all this was going on with all our other deals at the same time.
And you had 8 days to get this locked up with all of those issues?
Brother, we knocked it out. I'm going to show you how, man.
Awesome.
I'm going to show you how. And keep this in mind, we run a full-blown company, so there's a lot of other stuff that we're doing too. So unless you got a quick question, let's rock and roll. You can cut me off anytime, Daniel, but I got to get through this meat, man. So REI chess, lots of moving parts, guys. Our objective, once we figured out what was going on, was to negotiate a price and secure the contract, and we did. Man, he just wanted out. He didn't care if they won or they just wanted out. And he was willing to take $2,000 for it. He was willing to take $2,000 for it. I'll go over the numbers of what was owed on the property in a little bit. I might do that, but he wanted $2,000. Man, we're willing to take it down without a clear title. So always deal with the heir who has possession when chasing the clouded title. What does that mean, man? If you're going to buy a property that you can't clear title on, make sure you get possession. That's all I care about, man. I'm not going to deal with somebody who don't got possession because I want the property. I want to be able to put a body in that property. Always get possession. We discovered that the previous investor could not get the female heir to sign, and there's going to be a story behind that. We discovered the previous investor had a busted contract. He didn't get nothing. He didn't get no amendment. He didn't get nothing. He just let it lapse, man. The key thing here, man, is for us, we're always doing the right thing. So we took the contract, brother. We found out who the title company is. We took the contract back to the title company where this deal was at the first time. Why? Because we felt like, hey, they already worked on this deal. Let's give them a chance to get them their money. They probably already have most of the stuff. Let's rock and roll. Remember I said that we were dealing with a bad title company? I'm going to get to that in a second. So that hurt us for a second. So what happened was, man, the no good escrow officer called the previous investor and said, hey, there's some guys here. They have a contract on this property. Now, needless to say, Daniel, I know that would have pissed you off.
Damn right it would have pissed me off. That escrow officer had no right to have that other person involved in that conversation.
Exactly, man, exactly. But this guy at the time was bigger than us, but he just didn't realize that we just knew a lot of stuff, right? He was bigger than us at the time, and he was feeding them a lot of deals. So while all this was going on, Daniel, we started fighting with the title company. We started research on the property. We were working on locating the heirs and the witnesses to the affidavit of heirship. So let me get to the witnesses real quick. So what we had to do Because we had to go on archives.com. We had to use TLO. We had to find previous addresses where this lady that passed away had lived, and we had to try to find neighbors and old relatives and stuff that could verify that she had 4 children. 3 of them had passed away. Could verify all these nephews and cousins and stuff, and her son. Man, that was hard to do. She had passed away in 2007. And he wasn't volunteering any information, and he really couldn't. None of the other heirs weren't volunteering anything. So we worked hard to find those people, and we did. Man, we found some really good people. The title company vetted them, verified them, but sometimes you got to do that. At the same time, we were looking for the heirs. Some were in the streets, some were locked up, some were in different cities, but we were locating them little by little. Another thing here, guys, is going to start getting juicy. You got to know your rights, man. Know how to play this REI game. While all this is going on, we did our research. There was no extension, no MOA, no list pendants filed by the previous investor. And that's going to get deep in a second. The dude called us. He was rude. He was arrogant. We broke off any discussion and collaboration. Okay? Broke it all off. Give me 1 second, brother. 1 second.
So while you're breaking that off, I've got quite a few people watching right now. We're about 60, 70 people watching across 2 channels right now. Real quick question, or a real quick follow-up. What's going on right here is you went door knocking, you found a property that was in pre-foreclosure. It was occupied by an heir. The property hadn't had a payment, or the homeowner had died 7 years prior. You are speaking to an heir living in the property. The will has expired. You are now under contract with the property. The ARV on the property is approximately $145,000. You've got it under contract for $2,000. You're now trying to progress and get the title clear. You take it to the original title company that used to have it under contract with another investor. As you do that, it comes to find out that this isn't going to play out the way you thought it was, and now you're going to have a little bit of a fight ahead of you. Does that sound like a fair recap?
Yeah. And the guy was bigger than us at the time. He actually was quite a bit bigger than us. But man, when you know the game, Daniel, and hey man, you guys remind me. Michael just sent me a text that I had it on the PowerPoint. Remind me, because I get animated on this. This is one of our most exciting deals, Daniel, and you're gonna see it play out in a second. You're gonna see all the stuff that we did, and you're gonna see how exciting it was. I'm just setting it up right now, but let's go back to the PowerPoint, guys. So here's the deal. We started research on everybody, like I said. The dudes, we broke off discussion and collaboration with him. We tried, but he was very rude. He was just telling us, hey, man, you got my effing deal. You need to get off that deal, and I'm going to sue you. And we were like, what? He started threatening us. And so he threatened us with his attorney and stuff. And I was like, okay, this guy wants to play chess. That's the first thing that came to our mind. So I want to teach you guys how to take the queens. This is real, man. This is not just real estate, guys. You got to know how to play this game. Okay, so we tried working. First of all, I'm with the title company. We tried working with the title company, and we walked in there, man. Daniel, they totally disrespected us, man.
Damn.
They totally disrespected us. They talked to me really, really bad. And man, I mean, I don't want to say why they talked to me bad, but I just felt like really disrespected, man. Like I was just a dude that digs holes, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
And I told the guy, I said, look, man, you're talking to the wrong guy, man. I'm an educated dude, man. I've been in this business a long time, man. I'm the wrong one to talk to you like that, man. I said, I'll see you soon. And sure enough, man, by the next day, we're filing a complaint with the state, and I found their insurer, who insures them. Filed a complaint with them. So we got that ball rolling, okay? Then I made some calls, because guess what, guys? This is about networking. You got to know people. We made some calls, and we found the attorney. And let me back up, Danny. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of attorneys here in San Antonio, and we don't know them all, but we try to mix, mingle with all of them, take them out to eat, get them to do a deal for us here and there, and there's a reason for that. So we found the attorney, and he had been an attorney that we had worked with before. So we called the attorney. Remember, all this stuff is playing out, the research, all this stuff with the title company, everything. Researching the liens, all this stuff's happening. We called the attorney and said, hey, I got this problem with this investor, man. He's doing this. He's threatening us. He busted the contract. And so I wired him up, and he said, "Hey, man," he said, "F that guy, I got you, man." I said, "So you got us?" He said, "I got you, man." I said, "All right, I'm gonna send you over $1,000 retainer, and send me an email and let me know that you're representing us on this file, man." And as soon as he did that, we called him back up, and I said, "Hey, man, I appreciate you representing us on it. I just sent you confirmation. I got your confirmation. Man, you never asked me who the guy was." And I told him. He was like, "Oh man, come on, man. I get off, man. That guy sends me 25 deals, 30 deals a month." I said, "Well, you can't represent him, and you can't represent us. Checkmate, brother."
Let me recap on that real quick. So if people don't understand exactly what's going on there,
Just
lawyers
explain.
have a fiduciary duty, et cetera, to their clients. And through that, they are unable to represent both sides to a party because you can't adequately defend both parties in a suit. So by you finding out who was representing them and then kind of getting in there and then creating an attorney-client relationship with them, you have now disqualified that attorney from representing either one of y'all. So by doing that, you kind of push this man outside of his sandbox and forced him into a new legal team.
Exactly.
That's
Checkmate,
cool.
man.
That wasn't coincidentally, guys. So you guys need to understand the really outside the box thinking that Charles and I did to do something like that. It's not just, oh, what a big coincidence. You have to. No, we knew that, and we went into play for that. That was strategically planned, and this is like Charles is saying, it's a chess game. Fully understand to get this deal done. It's a chess game.
This just ain't real estate, guys. You got to know stuff, man. You got to know how to play this game, man. So what I just described is, look, when you were up for a fight, so we took his check, we took his queen away. And I tell you right now, man, he was like a fish out of water, Daniel. He was like a fish out of water, brother. His attorney was trying to make his bond and trying to negotiate with us. I said, "You can try to negotiate all you want, but this is my number." And I said, "Look, man, don't be giving him legal counsel, man, because you're gonna get yourself in trouble, man." So that's how that went, Daniel.
That's good stuff.
Now, with the title company, checkmate on them. Checkmate on them. I got our attorney involved, and he filed a complaint with the state with us, for us. He found out who the insurer was, because I wanted to know who the insurer was. We filed a complaint with them. They called the title company. That title company was like a little puppy, man. They were willing to give us everything we wanted, everything they had, anything we wanted. They were so nice to us. Wanted to take us to lunch. But when we first went in there, they treated us really bad. Yeah, the guy actually told me to get the F out of his office.
Damn.
Yeah, man. So checkmate on them. How do you like that, Daniel?
I do. I like that. I like it a lot. And I think that is some key takeaways for anybody that's watching right now. I want to bring this up because I need to make sure that y'all are following this. And I want y'all to also understand that not every deal is like this. But when you have been in this business long enough, there are going to be deals that hit your plate that are great opportunities. But if you don't know how to address the situation, you're going to find yourself in a situation. There will be times where you're going to have other well-established investors that are going to try and bully you around. And unfortunately, that is the truth. When you've got $40,000, $50,000 in profit sitting on the table, people aren't going to just let that bag go. They're not going to just be like, "Oh man, here you go, you can have this." That's not the reality to it. When they see $50,000, it's going to turn into a fight. So one thing that you need to pay attention to is how these guys were able to ethically move through this, because in my opinion, from what I'm hearing, this prior investor didn't really have anything to stand on. He lost the deal. He let it lapse. The contract was expired. He didn't perform. He was unable to get the transaction closed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these guys were able to come in and solve the issue, but this prior investor and this prior title company were really trying to make a stink out of this. But because of their experience and because of their out-of-the-box thinking, they've been able to push this deal forward. So one of the things that I say to any new real estate investor out there right now is persevere. Don't just accept what you see face value. Find a way around the problem. The people that will succeed are the ones that are able to get outside of that box, find the solution, and push forward at all costs.
And that's what we do. Daniel, I try to tell people all the time, man, this is not, if you're just doing wholesales or flips and you think that's all it is, then that's all it will be. But we're running a business, man. And you need to know how to maneuver in this business. And we actually shared this with this private group that we have for free, man, that we do. There's people that support us. We shared it. They were really excited about it. We've never really shared it before, because it's just private tactics that we use. But you got to know who you're going up against. This guy for a long time was putting memorandums on properties, all on any property he would get, and he'd fight people because he could outspend them. But I got to get back on this one because there's more to it. But man, we've actually gone up against him 5 times. We won all 5 times, and that's the whole other story, brother. But back to this one, man. So checkmate 1, checkmate 2. And man, there were still a lot of moving parts, Daniel. So we had to deal with the family. So we knew from the initial conversation that it was the female who was holding up everything. We knew something was going on there, so we focused on the female, and that's what you got to do. You got to focus on the person who's holding up the deal. We called her.
Let me chime in real quick, Charles, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
When Charles is saying the female, one of the things that we really got this deal under our belt is the word rapport. This gentleman, this other investor that had the property the first time, in all honesty, he had the funds to close the deal. The reason he didn't close the deal is because of the word rapport. Didn't have the rapport to do so. And because he didn't have the rapport to do so, that's what throws it off. He could not deal with this female, and this female heir is the niece to the gentleman who had possession. In the beginning of the video, when I said, hey, this guy opened up with his boxers on, and what do you guys want? It was that gentleman's niece who was the female. And because the female gave the previous investor such a hard time, it just didn't work through. And because of the low and bad rapport, that really shows how important it is to do so. That rapport, guys, is what made that happen. Now, there's a whole moving parts, title, judgments, liens, and we're almost not even halfway done with all this to get to the crazy stuff. But if we didn't have that rapport with that one female, this deal would have not happened for sure, 100% guaranteed.
Well, Daniel, here's the thing, man. So the thing is that he had an acquisition manager, a very smart lady, dressed to the nines, driving, a Mercedes, and that's all badass. That's, hey man, that's beautiful, man. But you're dealing with a female who just came out of a prison, about 8 months ago. At the time, she was a drug addict, a recovering drug addict. She was trying to be one of those counselor drug addicts, and she had been a prostitute. I mean, that's just the facts. It's just facts, man. They just couldn't jive, man. They couldn't, the female not only had issues with the uncle, but there was no rapport there, man. They just couldn't mix together. And so the lady, the acquisition manager, talked down to her, and made her feel really uncomfortable and made her feel, beneath her. And so you can't talk to people like that. Maybe you're trying to get something done. You need to figure out what's going on with this person, man. Empathize with them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's part of what happened there, Daniel. We took a lot from her, man. She cussed us out for a couple of days. And she finally broke down one day, man. Here's what the problem was, Daniel. That the uncle was not a good uncle, man. If you understand, without me having to say what I have to say, for all you guys out there, man, I won't go into what it was, but let's just say he was not a good uncle, man, while she was growing up.
And what I need to make sure is made clear on this is, for anybody that's watching, we are solving problems, really. I mean, there's a lot of issues going on with this property. And what I have personally found, especially when dealing with probates and pre-foreclosures, is that there's a lot of seated family issues that you're going to discover while this is going on. So you really do have to come in and get down to the root cause of the problems. And that is exactly what y'all did with one of these heirs. And when you find that these types of problems exist, it makes these types of transactions, in a lot of ways, a almost counseling session, because you're dealing with a lot of deep family issues and you're going to have to get those resolved to push forward and pull these deals off. And some of these problems that you'll find and discover will just turn your stomach. I mean, there's been deals I've been on where I hear what's going on and I'm just like, man, I can't be a part of this because I'm going to end up being a part of this. And it's bad. But, when you see these types of things happen, this is reality. And these are the types of problems you will face. And you need to be prepared for dealing with them.
And that's the thing, Daniel. We encounter that too, man. Sometimes you got to be like, man, I don't want to be part of this because I'm gonna end up being part of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, man. And we found, that was her problem, man. Aside from, going, becoming a drug addict and alcohol, her family history, she had that, man. She didn't want him to make any money. She wanted to punish him. She wanted to hurt him. And that's the only way she knew how to do it. But, you know, what we told her is this: look, let us help you. Let us help you get some footing. Why are you hurting yourself? Why are you hurting yourself? Let us help you get some footing, right? And and what turned out, man, is that she was like, you know what, that was the right thing to say, man. She goes, I really don't want anything from the house. And it was very hard for us to get her to agree, Daniel, to take something, man. And then the only reason she actually agreed, because she says, well, we're gonna give you more than the uncle, and she was like, okay, I'll take it. But
Okay.
she really didn't want anything, and because she hated her the old lady too, the old lady that passed away, and there's a lot more that goes to that, so I won't go into it. But once we got all that secured, what we knew was that all the other guys, they were all guys, they were willing to sign. And so we told her, look, this is the message. This is what you're gonna do. We're gonna get you these funds, and we're gonna get this thing done. And we need you to call your brothers and your cousins, and you're gonna tell them we got their money. Now, guys, look, I mean, we're talking about business here, and we're talking about solving problems. You're talking about all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, you're still doing business. And you can ask somebody, how much do you want for this property, and that's a good way of doing it. Or you can just say, hey, I got your money, man. And that's the tactic we use on this property. In one day, Daniel, we went all over San Antonio. I mean, the San Antonio is a big city, man. We're from one corner to another corner to another corner, just going to different Randolph Brooks, getting all the deeds signed that we did ourselves. And I'll get to that in a second. But we got all the deeds. We got all the deeds signed, and so at that point, technically, it was our property because everybody signed. And so we're going to get into a little bit of the weeds right here. So here's the thing, man. We found the witnesses that were vetted by the title company. So we were able to get the affidavits of heirship done. Of course, the uncle was willing to sign on that. We found all the heirs. So the young lady was able to help us with that. We drew up the affidavits of heirship, Daniel. But here's the thing. We do this a lot, to be honest with you. I don't suggest anybody to do it. We do it a lot. But we have a couple title companies we've been working with for a long time. So we actually changed title companies, Daniel. And we went with we should have gone from the beginning. And what we did, we created all the affidavits of heirship and the warranty deeds, and we got them to approve them while they were working on the title commitment. So we always get the title company to approve them for us, So we draw them up, and they approve them, and they'll ask us to change this or that. As long as they give us confirmation they're approved, we're rocking and rolling. We're getting them signed and get them notarized. So we do a lot of these ourselves, but we get them approved, Daniel. So that's one thing that we did. All this stuff was happening at one time. After extensive due diligence, like I said earlier, in one day we got all the deeds signed over to us. We got the affidavits of heirship done, and we paid everybody with cashier's checks. When questioned again, like I said earlier, about the amount, we said, hey, man, sign or don't sign, because we were willing to take the property without title. We really didn't care whether we cleared title or not at that point. We had made a decision to take it down. So all this in a span of 4 or 5 days, Daniel, all this was happening. So now we're dealing with the liens and the judgment. This is where it gets a little juicy. Daniel, do you have any questions before I get into this?
No, so I want to recap, because not completely recap at all, but I do have one real quick, because I'm personally kind of lost. Did you just say that you found the niece that was previously holding up the deal? You were able to negotiate with her to get her to sign. She assisted you with finding all the remaining heirs. You were able to complete all the affidavits of heirship and get everybody to sign off on it. This was all done within about a 5-day period, because the property had an 8-day auction on it. Yeah. And after you got all of the heirs to sign off with the affidavits of heirship, you had them transfer title right then and there. So you took it down prior to an official insured title closing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me expand on that too. So Daniel, you're always every time, man. That's why I like doing this show with Daniel. Man, Daniel's always spot on. Man. He's
Yeah.
I already know Daniel knows the next steps. So that's for you guys don't know, man. Daniel's up there, man. You guys gotta make sure you always follow Daniel and everything he does with Propelio. But Daniel, spot on. We bought this property without a title company. Now, most people are like, well, I wouldn't do that because there's title issues. Mind you guys, Charles, how many was there? Like 9 total heirs? There's 9 total heirs, no judgments, no lien. No title commitment check at the time because we had limited time. Now, why? I'm curious to see if anyone can put some comments on here. Why would Charles and I buy this property cash without a title company, knowing there's 9 heirs? There are going to be judgments. There are going to be liens. There's going to be multiple issues. We bought this property without clear title. If you buy a property without a clear title policy, are we going to have a hard time selling this property? Of course. Are we going to have issues selling it? Of course. Why? I'm curious to see if anyone wants to put something in the comments. Why would Charles and I do this?
So let me expand on that. Keep in mind, guys, this is not linear, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're battling with the title company, still trying to get docs for them. Remember, we moved the contract to our title company, and we're doing all this other work ourselves and getting them to approve it at the same time. We're battling with the other investor, and we're dealing with all these heirs. And then the guy, he was an old man. He was about 52 or something. This dude moved all his stuff outside into the driveway, brother. And he just sat there, man. He sat there for like 5 days in the rain and everything. And he was like, well, can I go inside? I was like, man, you can't go back inside, man. We gave you the money already to go, for you to get an apartment. And, he just sat there in the rain, man. And we had to, sometimes, guys, you got to make a decision. If we let him back in the house, now he has possession again.
So I got a couple people that came up with their understandings and guesses as to why you might want to keep this, and I really believe that they hit the nail on the head. But Jeff Smith says, possession is 9/10 of the law. But I also have Claudio Diaz that came in and said, you know what? You can just keep this thing as a rental because you're not 100% worried about getting it sold. And my add-on to that was that your acquisition costs were so small on this deal that your ability to recoup your investment, especially if you kept it as a rental, was so likely that you had minimal risk in this deal.
Once we show you the numbers, man, you're going to see how awesome of a deal this was. You're going to see how awesome of a deal was. So there was a lot of stuff playing out here, Dan. Okay. And here's the thing, man. So dealing with the liens and judgment, okay? Here's the deal. Why all this is going on, Mike and I are really good at clearing title. We always do our research as best we can, and we usually find a lot of stuff. Pretty close to what title company is letting us know after they give us a commitment. So always do the research when taking down properties without clear title. You got to do that. So stopping the foreclosure was our main concern. And there was a lien, about $25,000 child support. That was our second concern. That was on one of the heirs. Now, guys, I cannot stress this enough, man. There's a lot of moving parts going around. You got to know what to do with that child support lien when you're taking that property, when you're taking that deed from the heir. We knew about it already. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a minute. And I'm telling you, I don't think you guys have ever heard some of this stuff before, man. So I hope you guys are going to like it, man. So our third concern was there was an $18,500 plus judgment on the deceased mother. So that was a concern of ours also, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And then believe it or not, Daniel, we knew there was a lot of liens, man. Additional liens. That was our fourth concern, but we weren't that troubled with it. We knew there was going to be a lot of them, but we had already done our due diligence, man. See, people don't know this, but if you wait for the title company to clear title, you'll be there all day long, because the title companies are made for cookie cutter, builders and traditional real estate. They ain't trying to pay somebody $15 or $12 an hour to spend 2-3 days on your deal. That's only going to pay them minimal. They can have them work on 10 or 15 files. So a lot of times when you call a title company and they haven't done your work, that's why.
I want to
need
make
to
sure
do
that
this
we
work.
pause on that for 2 seconds and then just make sure that everybody watching understands this, because I believe that a lot of newer investors believe that the title company is this magic button that you just hand a contract to and then miraculously 8 hours later you're ready to close and everything's done. Really, the title company is nothing but the facilitator of the transaction. They're the ones that bring the funds in and hold them in escrow and then disperse funds once they've made sure that all the paperwork's been completed. But the curing of the encumbrances really should fall on your back, and you should make sure that it is your priority to make sure that they're getting resolved, because this one title company isn't catering to you specifically. Your file might need 25, 30, 40 hours worth of work to get cleared, and if you are not personally taking that responsibility on to assist the title company with making sure that they got everything that they need, you can count on your paydays getting fewer and fewer because you're not going to make them to close. You got to help that title company out, and you must establish a strong relationship with that title company up front.
Yep.
Especially with the sales price is such a low sales price. You know, that title policy fee is not going to be big on a $10,000 contract. So when we're doing these wholesale deals with $10,000, $15,000, $18,000 contracts, the title company would much rather prefer to do a traditional deal that's on the MLS because they know it's going to be a traditional sale, and those sales prices are $250, $275 all day long after these little, especially the contract we got at Fort Jones.
Yeah, and when you got a mixed bag like this, Daniel, I tell all these youngsters, man, or people that they're starting out, I said, man, once you get to know these title companies, you go in there, bless their heart, man. But if you ain't trying to help them, they ain't gonna put somebody at $12 an hour to spend 20 hours on your deal, man. Well, they can put that person to work on 10 or 15 deals. So that's something that people don't know. And so like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here, man. So what we did, Daniel, while all this was going on, we had the deeds. We went ahead and paid out off the loan, stopped the foreclosure. Of course, the heir who had child support on him, we were strategic about this. Now, this is the only thing, Daniel, that it's because it's borderline legal advice, man. So I can't really. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can, but we get child support liens removed all the time, bro. So you gotta be strategic about it from the jump. So we drew up a special warranty deed. That's all I'm gonna say. That because it's recorded now, it's a receipt. So it's a receipt. That's all I can say about that, brother. But here's the thing, man.
Hold on, Charles. Say that one more time. If it's recorded, it's a what? I don't think people. If you guys are watching, you guys are listening, man.
You know, our attorney warned us about this, man. So what I'm saying is, you
Charles,
got to be real careful.
Yeah, we got to make sure we understand that, man. Turn off the screen real quick, man.
Okay.
Everyone who's watching. Let's do this. Daniel, help me out here. Everyone who's watching on Propelio.
We got about 70 people watching right now.
70 people watching. We're not going to give legal advice because that's not one thing we're going to do.
Yeah.
But that one sentence that Charles just said definitely needs to sit in your brain. Charles, say it real quick. And when Charles says that and it hits your brain and it registers, I could read between the lines. You guys need to comment Hustle. You guys need to comment Propelio. And Charles, go ahead and drop it for these guys, man.
Yeah. So when you're doing this type of deal, man, you're going to take a deal down like this. And you know this guy has child support. You got to be very strategic on how you take that deed. Like if you do what we did. You have to be real strategic on how you draw up that deed. Now, once it's recorded, that's a legal receipt, and it'll make more sense in a few minutes. It's a legal receipt, and to everyone, the state, to anyone, what that guy got paid. That's all I can say, guys. So let's go. I hope you guys got that. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. We never have problems removing the child support, man. So here's the thing. I'm gonna get to that part in a second. I'm gonna skip to something right here. We had our attorney inform the creditor / collection company on that judgment that we were going to sue. Okay, we want them to prove that their position and recording of the lien or judgment was credible. See, what happened was the creditor wanted judgment against the owner in January 2007. The owner passed away in February 2007, and they recorded the judgment in March of 2007. Now, as new owners, right, because we're brothers to these people now, we wanted to take up on this fight. We wanted the creditor or at this time the collection company to prove they had the right to record that judgment after death. Now, look, I really don't care whether they have the right or not. I'm just going to make a case out of it. And we told our attorney, and our attorney said, man, I can't be writing letters and saying you're going to sue and threatening. I said, no, man, you don't understand. We're going to follow through. So I'm not telling you to make up anything. We're taking this all the way to court, man. They're going to come here to Texas, and they're going to prove why they filed that. And on top of that, check this out, guys. I'm going to give you a big nugget right now, man. Big nugget, man. I hope you're listening. You have to understand that collection companies, man, they have to be registered with the state to collect in the state. So if you ever have a collection on your credit report, go back and look at it, research that collection company. If they weren't registered during the time they filed that, they got to remove it, man. So they didn't even have the right to file this. And that's what made our attorney feel a little bit better about it. But if you didn't catch that, guys, understand something. The collection company has to be registered in the state they're trying to collect, guys.
That's a good piece of info.
That's a big nugget, man. I hope we get some hustles. Look, can I say something, Daniel, real quick? Because I want to finish. I want to say something, man, and I just want to be respectful to everybody who's teaching and everything. You know, here at Propelio, man, you got people that bring the heat, and I just want to say something, man. We decided to drop this today, a lot of little stuff, because I always say to people, man, if this is not what you're hearing, how to do stuff, you know, man, look, I get it, man. Motivation's great, man. I don't teach motivation. God is good. I believe in God, but I'm not a preacher. This is what we share, Daniel, and you know us, man. And this is what we share. Whoever's listening out there, guys, this is why we're sharing this with you, man. Because one, we believe that everybody should have the opportunity everybody should have the chance to create opportunities with each other, and or with people you're dealing with, and or with us, or whoever else you choose with. And that's how you do an exchange of value. We learn stuff by experience, and now we're sharing it, and hopefully, you know, people will say, hey, man, we want to do business with these people, or go do business with someone else. So I hope I wasn't out of line by saying that, Daniel, but you know, that's how I feel, man. I mean, I feel that if people are gonna, you know, get some value, they're gonna pay for some stuff, man. They need to get the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, man. I do.
So here's the thing. What happened here, as new owners, we told our attorney, hey, man, I need you to contact this collection company, let them know we're going to sue. We believe they didn't have the right to record this judgment. And at the time that they started trying to collect for this collection, they weren't registered with the state. So there it is. And since we are now owners of this property, we believe that the heirs were injured by all this, and they could not sell the property. They could not do anything with it because of this judgment.
Let me jump in for 2.5 seconds, because I think there's some points that the audience may not be catching, and I think is very relevant to this conversation. I taught on this in the pre-foreclosure course there in the Propelio Academy. It's a free course. You can get access to it over there at the Propelio Academy. But I had an entire section just on liens and judgments, because when you're dealing with pre-foreclosures and you're dealing with real estate in general, there are going to be properties that are going to have massive amounts of liens and judgments against them. Child support liens, IRS tax liens, city tax liens. You're going to have abstracts of judgments. You're going to have mechanics liens. You're going to have all of these types of liens hitting these properties. And when you look at a property and it's only worth $100,000 and it's got 19 liens on it that total $225,000, that massive negative equity is a deal killer. Unless you understand your state's laws, you understand how liens work, and you really quickly find out that of those 19 liens placed against that $100,000 property that total $250,000 in liens, you can get 18 of the 19 removed just by sending out demand letters telling these people that they are fictitious judgments, they don't have any weight to stand on, they need to be removed, and you will quickly find out that not all title companies are adept at doing this for you. That is why you must work with the right title companies. You must work with the right attorneys, and you yourself must also educate yourself on your state laws, because if you find out, like in Texas, we are a homestead law state and we have very strong homestead law rights. If you have a homestead property, that child support lien ain't going to stick. Those abstracts of judgments aren't going to stick. And if you understand how to work through these lien and title laws and get these things removed, you will quickly find out you don't have to pay those judgments off. You just have to get them removed from title so you can close.
So Daniel, I'm glad you said that about educating yourself. You see this one right here?
Yes, sir.
That's a paralegal certificate right there, man. 18 months, man. Why? Because I wanted to know about the law. You know, I wanted to know about the law, man. So because of what we do, and I tell everybody, you gotta learn your craft. We're not just doing real estate here, guys. So here, jumping into this, Daniel. Check this out, man. Our attorney sent the letter by email to the attorney for that creditor, or collection company rather, and certified mail. Daniel, no BS. This is no BS, man. It's straight up for all you guys who are listening. The same day we got a verbal release, man. Within 3 days, we had a full-blown release sent over. You got to be willing to pull the trigger, man. Mm-hmm. If you tell somebody you're going to make them come to Texas to prove why they recorded something or why they're trying to collect or something, they may not be willing to come. They may be right, but if you're willing to pull that trigger and make them come, they may not want to come. It just may not be cost effective for them. And you know what, Daniel? We got that removed. And guess what? Let me share something else with you. We asked our escrow officer to contact the child support office like we always do and let the child support office know that we are willing to match the amount that we paid to the heir who had the child support lien. Guess what? Boom, gone. I don't mind. We don't mind paying a little something to the child support office, contributing. There's other ways to remove that, but that's been the easiest way to remove it, brother. And so within a couple of days, we had that big lien removed, we had the foreclosure paid off, and we had the child support release, and then we got hit with 42 additional liens and judgments, brother, on the commitment. But guess what? We already knew, so we were doing the homework already. And so what people don't understand is a lot of information is online, and you can cross-reference information to figure out who's who. So, for example, almost every single heir had something on their name, whether it was a state sales tax from a business, or they were behind on property taxes, or a different address, or they were married to so and so. And what we did is we just found a bunch of information, cross-reference, and then we send up little package for each person without ever bringing them in, Daniel. Send up little package for each person to the title company, and they use that information to just clear. We cleared everything off but two. We cleared everything on all the liens and judgments off but two. We had already got the other ones released. The two that we didn't remove, those were court fees, and we even went down to talk to the prosecutor, and we tried to get those removed. We couldn't do it because it said no, those got to get paid. But we tried, and we would have got those. We would have got those removed. We would have saved about $1,600. But it was worth a shot. It just took us 30 minutes to go down there. So you can get a lot of this stuff removed, guys.
I love that. Can I bring up a point and address something that I think is important to this current conversation?
Yeah.
For everybody out there that's listening right now, I believe that these guys brought in this property. Sounds like you contracted it at $10,000. You paid out the heirs, and you did all of this outside of title company. And the reason that is because you only had 8 days until the property went to auction. So you had some very rapid timelines that you had to perform within. Now, some people might be listening right now and saying, well, man, that house was worth $145,000 when it was all said and done with. These people have been paying on that house for 29 and a half years. And you know what? They only walked away with X amount of dollars. Do you see the amount of work that these guys had to put in and the amount of risk that came up in this transaction after closing. You had 41 liens that showed up against that property as you started moving forward. Each and every one of those 41 liens could have been a massive problem for you to overcome. Fortunately for you, you were able to address these issues, but when you see a price point that low against a property that could resell for that much, the reason the price point was that low is strictly because the amount of risk involved with that deal. That deal could have very easily turned into a couple $100,000 in encumbrances that could not have been released. And then Charles and Michael would have been stuck with that. So your price reflects your risk in the deal. That deal was a risky deal, but because of the amount of money that they had to bring to the table, which was somewhat limited, it mitigated their risks and made it worth moving forward and doing. Does that sound like a fair assumption, Charles, Michael? Uh-oh. I don't know what happened to you guys. Y'all have disappeared. I lost Michael and Charles. I don't know what happened. Maybe we'll see if they come back in. I see.
Oh, here we are.
There you go. Michael's back.
Sorry about that, man. So
all
many people
good.
here, so many calls, man. We're at the office. The boiler room's full effect. The SMS in full effect. Lost a little bit of signal, but we're back.
Well, good call, guys. I was wanting to bring that to light because some people might be watching this and like, wow, they only paid $10,000 for it. It's worth $145,000. They just made $130,000 off of this property. Well, you know what? That might not necessarily be the case, and you also need to take into consideration how much risk was really on the table when they bought that. They had little invested on the acquisition price, but in the end, that property could have been so encumbered with liens that there was no equity in the property at all, and they essentially paid $10,000 for a property that was only worth 100-ish. And maybe even 90-ish, but had so many liens against it, there was no equity at all.
Right. The liens, the rehab, the risk of not being able to sell it because what if we didn't clear the liens? So that's definitely taken into full consideration. The fact that this family didn't want out, the fact that the females just said, hey, I'd rather lose money if that guy is going to make a nickel. And that was she told us multiple times. It took us to the last very second for her to say, okay, I'll go ahead and make something. But it's building the rapport. It's building the rapport.
Yeah.
And Charles is back too. So
Yeah.
Charles,
So
we got a lot of data going on here, man. Everyone's making calls. The SMS is going on.
let me hit you with the last one. We had another checkmate, Daniel. So what happened was a dirty investor, after being admonished, went and filed a list pendants, man, without cause. 8 months after a busted contract. But here's the power of building your network, man, and meeting people and getting to know people, man. So I happen to be friends with a very prominent criminal attorney. This is a whole other attorney, not even a real estate attorney. He happens to be an ex-prosecutor. And I said, hey, brother, I know you like some really good seafood, man, and I'm looking to take you out. I need a favor, man. And that dirty investor, got a call from downtown that an information was going to be filed against him, man, for filing an erroneous list pendants, man. You know how fast that thing was removed? Now people don't know what information is. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah. So he got a call from downtown. I'm not gonna say who, but it was just from downtown, and that list pendants, man, was removed very quickly, man. I mean, he did it as fast as he could, man. It took him a day, and we ended up sending him a box of eggs, man. Yeah. So the power of networking, guys. The power of networking, man. Made a quick phone call. Ex-prosecutor, hey, man, I need a favor. Guy got a call. Next thing I know, his attorney's calling us, telling us, hey, man, he's sorry. He's gonna remove it, man. Can we all just be friends? Yeah, we can be friends. Let me know when he removes it. And so here's the thing, man. Before we get to the numbers, we didn't know we were gonna clear title, Dan. We didn't know. We were willing to take it down without. We knew we were going to get some of the stuff cleared, but we really didn't know. But we recorded the deeds. The property went to our name. These are the cliff notes. We cleared title. We found a buyer. We sold it, and we made money, man. We made money, and I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna let Michael take us out here. And Mike, you ready for this, man?
Yeah. Make sure you pull it up.
Here we go, man. There it is, Dan.
There it is. So everyone, after the headaches of doing this file, I mean, from start to finish, the payoff again, guys. The payoff was only 7,600. Now it was only 7,600 because they actually waited to the last 6 months of a 30-year note, 29 and a half years. That was all that was owed on the property. Seller accepted the fate that he's getting foreclosed. We tried to get him some assistance. He just, hey, I'm done. My niece is not going to sign. I know she's not going to sign. So we paid it off after the heirs had signed towards us. Now, the very first one we did was the gentleman who had possession. Once that gentleman who had possession signed his interest over to us, we paid it off because now we know we're secured. At that point, we had a paid off property with one deed signed to us, and now we have possessions. The thing is, if you guys didn't catch it, we had that niece who was wanting to go ahead and accept the payment because we paid her more than the uncle. She said okay, and we had her tell all her cousins and all the other heirs, hey, this guy named Mike and this guy named Charles has our money. Please relay that to your cousins. Once you tell someone they have your money, people start calling you. The court liens were paid off. We did a hotel. If you can tell, the hotel is just a quick rehab before we actually sold it. We only put a little over $1,000 into it. That was just taking out the trash, trim some trees, and cutting some grass. The ARV on this thing, of course, is a couple years ago. ARV on this thing was 145. The rehab was 35,000. At that point, it's probably about a good 70, 71% wholesale on the back end. The gentleman really wanted it. Could have we sold it for more? We could have, but we built a great relationship with that investor. We sold it at 68. He put down the non-refundable. At closing, we got the 65. We're all in 19 grand on that. This is just shy of a $50,000. You want to turn off the screen, Charles? This is just shy of $50,000 for us. We helped out the owner. We helped out the niece. The niece who was having a hard time really wanted closure in the end. She just wanted to be done with it. Charles really sat down and built rapport with her, going to her property. She didn't have a car. She didn't have a cell phone. Remember that, Charles? We have to go knock on her door, and hopefully we'll put a little post-it note, and eventually she'll call us back. It's just so much that goes into this file, guys. And if you guys, I know people tune in and tune out. But if you guys missed it, I mean, this is buying a property where someone's getting foreclosed because there's only 6 months left, accepting the fate that he's going to get foreclosed because he knows that his heirs are not going to sign. For some reason or another, cannot get money from any other services, had no friends, had no family, unfortunately, was unemployed for years because he kind of unfortunately lived off mom. And it was just a bad story all around. We helped the seller put some money in his pocket. We helped the niece get her closure. We helped the other nephews and other cousins that were willing to sign for whatever it took. So they were just happy to get anything. The whole family was already on board as, hey, that thing's a lost cause. And when we came around, we just took it around, spun it around, make sure we dealt with the dirty investor, make sure we dealt with the title company who actually told that dirty investor, hey, there's this company called HBHS and they're trying to buy one of your properties. They literally told that to the investor. Investor tried to do the list pendants. I mean, on and on and on. A lot of bombs were dropped on this Propelio TV show with Daniel Moore, with the probates, being the will being after 4 years old, going the affidavit heirship route, building rapport with all the people, not just the possession individual, not just the niece, but with every single one of them. These individuals actually drove down from different cities. We're in San Antonio, so we had people coming from Corpus. We had people coming out the woodworks, people that couldn't be found. Once you tell someone, hey, I got your money, they're going to find you. If you tell someone, hey, I have money here for you whenever you're ready, they actually came out and did the dirty work for us, clearing the property, clearing the liens. I don't know, Charles, you might have said it, and I don't know if I missed it, but one of the judgments were against the mom who actually was the original owner. She passed in January. The judgment was then recorded in March.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Make sure we're on the same page. I don't know if you guys missed it. I know you guys, people coming in and out. The judgment was in January. The company recorded it in March. Now, why am I saying January and March? The judgment was in January. Mom passed away in February, and the company recorded that judgment in March. Charles and I, as a matter of fact, the title company said we had to pay that. Let me say that one more time. The title company said we had to pay that judgment. Charles, on top of the head, do you remember what that judgment was? How much that was worth?
It was about 18-something, 18.5. But I'll tell you what we said, Daniel. We said, we ain't paying that. I said, we'll take care of it. We'll get back to you.
Just shy of 20 grand that a title company has told us multiple times. Daniel, they had the death certificate. Daniel, they had the affidavits of heirships that we drew up. Daniel, they were consistent and adamant that we have to pay $20,000 to that judgment individual to get this clear. We brought in the documents. We got it released ourselves. It cost us what, a steak dinner to our attorney just to call another attorney and say, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, guys, but you guys filed this judgment in March. The individual actually passed away in February. How are you going to file a judgment on a deceased person? So many bombs were dropped in this podcast, Daniel, Charles. I mean, man, it's always good to kind of go down memory lane and look at all the deals we've done. And that's why Charles wanted to coin this podcast, Checkmate.
Checkmate, man.
I love that, man. Thank y'all so much for coming in here, dropping all these amazing, it's just like a nugget bomb. Like, y'all just dropped it from beginning to end. I appreciate that. For everybody out there watching right now, show these guys some love. Like, HBHS came in here, dropped an hour of their time out the middle of their day, and has shared with y'all some really interesting strategic moves that they were able to accomplish to take this deal down, that not only left us considerable amount of profit on the table for HBHS, but y'all wholetailed this to another investor that was also able to make a profit off of this. So with all of these things taken into consideration, you're able to see how the moving parts on a deal like this can get you across the table, some of the creative things that had to be done to pull this down, because most unsophisticated investors would have walked from this. And I don't even say new investors, because I've seen investors that have been doing this business 5-10 years that couldn't have done this deal. You really need to become a master of your craft. I try to tell people, stop saying you're a wholesaler. You are a real estate investor, and as a real estate investor, you should be a master of your craft. You should understand the moving parts to this business. And while you watched this show, you might not have understood every single tactic that these guys used. What I'm hoping is that you were exposed to those tactics. And through that exposure, if you ever hit another deal again, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I remember HBHS, they pulled down a deal kind of like that one time. Maybe I can try this, maybe I can try that. This opens up your context, because it expands your mind and opens you up to what the possibilities can be, and therefore allow you to perform on a level that some of these guys are performing at. So HBHS, much love for y'all coming in here, sharing that level of knowledge. These types of things don't even get dropped on $20,000 weekend courses. So thank y'all for coming in and discussing that. Do y'all have any final thoughts here?
I mean, Daniel, we try to build a home buying home selling association. People want to follow us there. I mean, we'd love for them to follow us. We drop a lot of nuggets. We follow in your footsteps. You know how Propelio drops a lot of nuggets. We're just trying to measure up, man. And make sure we're doing a good job, being good stewards of the community. And people can follow us on the Home Buying Home Selling Association. We have the Midnight Hustle this Tuesday night coming up. Of course, you can follow Mike and I on Instagram. There's our handles right there, and our YouTube. So Home Buying Home Selling Association YouTube, and man, it's all about creating opportunity, man. All about creating opportunity for people, for yourself, for anybody you're working with, and that's why we're doing this. I mean, if we can create opportunities for people out there, fantastic. If they want to call us and they have something they want to knock out, everybody wins, man.
Love it. I love it. Any final thoughts, Michael, or can I land this plane?
So no, guys. I mean, I just, like Charles said, we just want to provide value. We just want to align ourselves with Propelio. Propelio provides value, and I know we can share about the academy and all that good stuff. Just want to provide value, guys. If you guys like this stuff, the RAI Hustle, Daniel has gave us the opportunity to be on Propelio TV every Thursday at 11 Central Standard Time. Charles said about joining the Home Buying Home Selling Association. We have a slogan here called "Turn Up the Hustle." And that's all we want you guys to do. We do it for ourselves. We do it for you guys. Take value from here. Take value from the academy. Take value from Propelio.com. And just turn up the hustle, guys.
And Daniel,
Yes,
in closing, if you think today was something, man, we got another one for next week, man. This is going to be
Well, everybody that just heard that, don't forget to set the alarm on your phone, We go live 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays with these guys here from HBHS. So if you got value here today, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you get that notification button over there on YouTube, because we go live. And when we go live, our goal is to provide as much value as possible. So keep tuned. Make sure you're tuning in, watching what's going on over here. For those of you that do not know what Propelio.com is, we are a national resource for you to get access to lead lists, over 144 million properties to stack your data against. We've got access to nationwide MLS comps. If you need professional website for your business and or professional email so you can get away from flybynighthwholesaler@gmail.com, you can get all of these types of things at Propelio.com. And not only can you get lead lists, national comps, websites, a simple CRM, you also get your Propelio mobile app. That way you can go out there, drive for dollars, look at properties, and do all of that right there from the comfort of the mobile app on your phone. Don't sleep on Propelio. Go out there, 14-day free trial, no credit card required. Sign up with your email, see how these tools work for you. Go in there, compare it to any of the other tools that you might be using in your business, and I guarantee you Propelio will do everything we can to earn your business. We have been making massive release after massive release, so if you've ever checked it out in the past, Propelio is a totally different tool today than what it was even 2 weeks ago. So go out there, check out Propelio.com, 14-day free trial, no credit card required. Sign up with your email, and I guarantee you, hands down, I will earn your business. Reach out to me in support. If you need help, we got your back. Much love, everybody out there. Final thoughts, HBHS?
Turn up the hustle, man.
Turn up
See you
the
next
hustle.
Thursday at an REI Hustle.
Love it, love it, love it. So thank you, guys, and we are rolling out on this one. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, stay blessed, and thank you from Propelio TV and these wonderful guys over there at HBHS. Thank you, guys.